Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about why Dameon Pierce, Texans running back, will have a breakout season for the Houston Texans this season. I am expecting big things from running back Dameon Pierce. For starters, I think he will be a Pro Bowler this season. I'm pretty sure he was at the Pro Bowl last year, but he wasn't, an official Pro Bowler. I think he was like a substitute or something, like, how you saw Tyler Huntley in the Pro Bowl as like the third or fourth quarterback. I think Dameon Pierce was like that for the running backs. I don't know. I can't remember what they call that at the Pro Bowl, but that's not actually being selected for a Pro Bowl. Sadly, he might have been at the Pro Bowl, but wasn't selected to the Pro Bowl. But I can't remember what they call those. I remember everybody was like, why is Tyler Huntley at the Pro Bowl? But that Tyler Huntley was like the third quarterback or the fourth string quarterback in the Pro Bowl. And I can't remember what they call those. Damn, I can't remember. But Dameon Pierce, he had a great season with the Texans last year in his rookie year. And he's been balling out at camp. And something I think is very scary, Dameon Pierce, okay, he had 30 receptions last year and only had 165 receiving yards. What the word has been, and his longest reception was only 16, and he only averaged about 12 receiving yards a game. What has been going around at Texans training camp is that Dameon Pierce has become a way better pass catcher. He's became a way better catching back. And if he can keep doing what he was doing for the run game last year, he had 940 rushing yards last season for the Texans, and he only played in 13 games. He missed 4 games. I think those were the 4. Yeah, he missed the last 4 games of the season with an injury. He had 940 rushing yards with 4 rushing touchdowns as a rookie, with his longest, play being a 75-yard touchdown in only 13 games. What he showed in his 13 games was unbelievable, and I think you look at some of the running backs, from last year's draft class. It's weird to me that he is not compared to guys like Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, who had great, excellent rookie seasons. Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall, played for better teams. The Jets, I think they were 7-10 last year, or maybe they were 7-10 last year. And the Seahawks were 9-8, making it to the playoffs. And Kenneth Walker, both guys were great, players for their respectable teams. But I feel like Dameon Pierce, with the season he had last year for the Texans in only 13 games, he should be on the category next to, Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker. I feel like if you look at, running backs from last year's draft class, I do believe he is up there next to those two guys. And honestly, I feel like Dameon Pierce could be better than Breece Hall from the Jets. I'm not going to say he's better. He could be better than Kenneth Walker, because I think that kid is just something special. I want to have faith in my running back as a Texans fan, but Dameon Pierce is not better than Kenneth Walker. But I think he could be at his level. But I think Dameon Pierce, if he has a better year, if he's going to be more involved in the pass game than he was in his rookie year, as well, I think he has potential to be better than Breece Hall as well. You got a new offense, you got a new quarterback with a better arm. I think it's for sure that Dameon Pierce is going to be more involved in the pass game this year as well. I think he's going to have more rushing yards. I think predictions for Dameon Pierce this season. I'm going to go on a limb and say he has 300 receiving yards this season, which is 125 more than he had in his rookie year. I'm going to go ahead and say that he also is over 1,000 rushing yards. I do believe that Dameon Pierce would have reached 1,200 rushing yards last year if he plays the whole season. I'm going to go ahead and say he also reaches 6 or 7 rushing touchdowns. And I'm not going to say he plays every game of the season. Let's go ahead and say he plays 16 games next season. And I do believe Dameon Pierce will be a Pro Bowler next year for the AFC. I know It's the Texans, but I think the Texans are going to be very surprising this season, and I do believe Dameon Pierce will be a Pro Bowler for the Houston Texans. I think he's going to take a huge step forward going into his rookie year. Going into his second year. With the offense improving, I think the vibes are going to be better. I think this coaching staff, the offensive, coaching has improved. Way better offensive coordinator with Bobby Slowick. I think things are, in line to change for this Texans offense. And I think Dameon Pierce is going to be a guy who just goes off for this Texans offense. I think with a new quarterback, with a new system, a new offensive coordinator, a new staff, an improved, I can't believe I forgot, I haven't mentioned that yet, an improved offensive line, adding in veteran Shaq Mason, drafting Drew Scruggs, making some other additions for the offensive line. This is an improved offensive line as well. So you have a new quarterback, improved offensive line, a new offensive coaching staff, a new offensive coordinator, going into his second year as well. So he's out of his rookie stage. I think, players that have breakout rookie seasons usually most of the time you will see a player that has a rookie season like that. Usually, most of the time, have a better season, especially with Dameon Pierce. I think a guy who should be a star for the Texans. Out of all the guys, I think Dameon Pierce has the biggest breakout chance. I'm not considering any of the rookies to be breakouts. I'm looking at guys that were on the roster last year, or even just that have more than 1 year of experience when I'm talking about breakout. I think CJ, if you look at some of the rookies like Tank Dell, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Henry Tuoto, I think all those guys can have great seasons. But when I'm talking about a breakout season, I'm talking about guys that have played multiple years. I think Dameon Pierce has a chance for a breakout season. I think same thing goes for two guys on the secondary, Derek Stingley Jr. and Jalen Petrie. I could say the same thing for two, young wide receivers, John Mechie and Nico Collins. Who am I missing? I think same thing goes for the new tight end that the Texans brought in from the Cowgirls. Did I say Cowgirls? I meant Cowboys. Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to be a huge addition. I think he should be a great weapon for the rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud. Who am I missing? Christian Harris, the third-round draft pick from 2022. I just made a video on him yesterday. I think he is a guy who has a huge chance to become a rising star this year for the Texans, a breakout season. He is a guy who's been balling out for the Texans at training camp. I think this Texans team is, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think the Texans are a top, and if you're looking at underrated teams in the NFL, I think the Texans are in the top 3 rank of underrated teams in the NFL. I think the Texans are very underrated. They have a decent, really solid coaching staff with D'Amico Ryans leading the defense and being the head coach. They have a really boosted offensive coaching staff. They have a boosted offense, adding in Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary, having, second-year guys like, Dameon Pierce and John Mechie. That's another thing. They're just getting back John Mechie. He didn't even play last year. They have a guy like Nico Collins who's supposed to, have a big year. They also added in free agent Robert Woods, who's a huge veteran. I think he should have a great year. Also signed another former Cowgirl. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean Cowboy. I meant Cowboy. Added in former Dallas Cowboy Noah Brown. I feel like he's very underrated in this offense. I feel like, you look at everything in this offense with the wide receivers. I feel like, he's a guy that's, I feel like he's a guy that's overlooked. I don't think people think, I feel like people underestimate how good he could be for this offense. Also drafted Tank Dell from Houston, from the Houston Cougars, drafted Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State. This offense has gotten way better. With Dameon Pierce being around this whole boosted-up offense, I think Dameon Pierce is in line to have a huge season. I think there's multiple breakout players and rising stars for this Houston Texans team on the defense and on the offense. I'm excited to watch this Texans team this season, and I think that I feel like this Texans team is going to be really good this year. I just think with a new coaching staff and some rookies leading the defense and leading the offense with C.J. Stroud at quarterback and Will Henderson at defensive end, and a new coaching staff, a new head coach. I feel like some Texans fans are over, a little. I think a lot of Texans fans have expectations for us to win 10 games this year. I feel like right now I'm thinking the Texans are going to win either. I think the least amount of games we'll win is 6. I think that's the lowest, but I think the ceiling is 9. So I'm thinking the Texans win 6 to 9 games in 2023. I think they're going to have, a really good season. I think probably 7 or 8 wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans win 9 this season. They don't have that hard of a schedule, which is something they kind of did have last year, and they've improved both on both sides of the ball and with coaching. And I think the Texans should be really underrated. And somebody who I think will break out is Dameon Pierce. Watch out for this guy because I think that he's going to be a breakout star for the Houston Texans. These are my thoughts. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Texans.